thank you for tuning in. My name is Peter Wolff. Question and answer time today. Thank you for all of your questions that have come in. We've picked a few out that have been sort of, I guess, common threads through the last sort of few months of our vlogs. First question that we've got is just to sort of go into a little bit more detail about roasted density and how that has an impact on in-cup or flavour. If we sort of go back to our previous one where I was talking about the flavour in the roaster, we introduced you to the humble little water pipe where we were talking about measuring volumetric density not only of green coffee initially when we first developing our strategy to roast the coffee and understanding how hard it is from a cellular level, but we also use this for roasted coffee to understand what we're getting from the coffee post at the cooling down period and we roast it. So we use the same capacity. So I gave some very implicit sort of, I guess, examples. So the way I guess to approach this is that we here at Wolff would try and work between 360 grams a litre to 380 grams a litre as a general average for our coffees for espresso roasting, and that would sit us around about what we would say is a medium roast. Now the lower the number that you get, so 350 grams a litre, 340 grams a litre, and we're heading in that sort of direction, generally means that the roast is going to be darker. We're going to have a lot more sort of volumetric expansion in the coffee, and you're going to end up with a lot more sort of roasted flavour in the coffee. On the other side of it, you will find that if you have numbers where it's 400, 410, 420 grams a litre, what we're entering into is obviously light roasted coffee. You're going to get obviously a lot more acidity, you're going to get lower or lighter body, and you will also have the risk of obviously taking in underdeveloped flavours, whether it's grassiness or the green peas and a little bit of that powderiness. But you will find a lot more sort of acidity in the cup. The thing about the numbers is that it's about sort of understanding what works for your market and how you want to represent the coffee. And we find that it's a very effective tool. As each of our blends and single origins, we've established the parameters that we want. So when we finish roasting the coffee, we check this, and this acts as one of our quality assurance measures that we use to ensure that the coffee that we've roasted meets sort of the expectations that we want for it before we send it out to the customer. But definitely cup your way through it and understand what the numbers mean. Okay, one of the questions I've also received, see below, is talking about as we're approaching first crack, they find that they're obviously getting a lot more sort of successful results in terms of increasing the temperature of the burner at first crack. I guess in terms of this question, there's a wide range of kind of answers sort of here. It really largely depends on the type of roaster that you're roasting on, whether you're roasting with gas or electricity. Are you using, is it a stainless steel drum, perforated drum, or is it a solid drum? Do you have cast iron? So there's a lot of things that would help you in terms of creating this or forming this decision. But as a general rule, you would be wanting to establish enough thermal momentum in the coffee. As one approached first crack, one needs to be slowing down the amount of energy that's supplied from a convective level, so that's coming from the heating element or the heated air, and then trying to sort of switch the coffee into inner bean drying. So our focus now should be making sure that the internal coffee is roasted evenly on the way through, and we've dried that out evenly so we don't have any raw or underdeveloped coffee in that. Now, if you have, for example, a solid metal drum or a roaster that has a cast iron front plate on it, then this makes this far more easier because we have obviously the stored energy that's sitting within the metal that's allowing us to sort of use this to sort of help dry the coffee out internally without adding any sort of external heat through the heated air. And also what we do is we can still maintain momentum without the coffee either flatlining and baking or stalling and obviously creating negative flavours. So that would be still my recommendation, but it's about looking at how one has that thermal momentum going through into first crack and making sure that there's enough stored energy in the coffee that will carry you through the development phase till your roast is finished. I hope that's some sort of form of explanation. Okay, the next question I've got is in relation to the Pobatino, in particularly sort of airflow control and temperature control as well. If you are thinking about buying a Pobatino, as it comes out of the box stock, there is no airflow control that comes with it outside of the manual gate valve that we use to sort of establish the pressure within the roaster. And the reason, there is some thinking behind this, and the way to sort of think about it is that when we have our roaster that's heated, the air temperature is obviously hot and it's held at a stable temperature. We're introducing green coffee into the roaster at predominantly an ambient temperature, and this plunges the air temperature down. Now, as we know, as air temperature rapidly cools, it becomes heavier. Now, on the Pobatino, it has its own impeller or fan that's fixed on top of the chaff collector, and this will be working at a fixed RPM. So what's happening is it is slowing down or pulling the heavier air out of the roaster at the start of the roasting process, and so the airflow leaving the roaster is slowed down. As the coffee and the air temperature starts to increase in temperature, the air temperature or the consistency of the air becomes lighter, and therefore it will move faster. So there is actually a natural correlation between the heating up of the coffee and the airspeed of the roaster. And so one has to then just focus on managing the input or the burner control. One of the things about the Pobatino roaster is it's designed as basically a profile roaster. It's it is a reasonably portable roaster, I guess. But I do say to people that it is a commercial roaster that is designed with the capacity of only building roasting 1 kilogram at a time. If you're wanting to add some aftermarket modifications in terms of a variable speed controller to the airflow, then yes, you can do that. If you're wanting to then add further expense to the roaster by putting a new modulating valve and modulating the burner and hooking it up to software, yes, these are all options that are available to you as an aftermarket. But as it comes from Pobat out of the box, it comes with obviously the stepped gas controller or actuator that it has, and with the fixed airspeed, which is perfectly fine. But just wanted you to think about the natural correlation with the way airflow is heated throughout the roast and the speed at which it travels through the roaster once it is being heated up. That's a good question though, thank you. I just want to say thank you very much everyone for all of your questions, and for everyone that's continuing to subscribe and leave comments on the Wolff College vlog. I know it's something not only myself, but everyone here at Wolff Coffee Roasters is really appreciating your feedback, and we really enjoy putting these little snippets out for you every week. Certainly if you have any questions, or if there's anything specifically you want us to do, any topics you want us to cover in terms of roasting, barista, you name it, anything to do with coffee, just shoot us an email or leave us a comment on our weekly vlog. We'll have a look at it, and we'll see if we can put something together. But I really enjoy putting this on for you every week, and keep watching. Thank you.